There's my cue. Good morning, everybody. How are we doing this morning? That was kind of weak. Good morning. There we go. That's better. All right. Hi, my name is Peter. I'll be your MC today for 1 Million Cups. Glad you're able to join us. It's now summer, so first 1MC of summer. I think we can all wear our white pants now. Mine were in the wash, but feel free to wear white pants now. It's legal. So yeah, thanks for joining us. We have 3 different groups and speakers to present today. So we're going to fly through some of the housekeeping items, and then we'll get right into our speakers. Typical stuff here to fly through. One is checking in with the 1MC app. If you have the app downloaded, please check in through there. If you don't have the app downloaded, please do so and check in. Allows us to track who's in attendance and how many people are in attendance nationally as well. Always thank you to our sponsors. These are the companies that allow us to do what we do here every Wednesday, buy us coffee, keep the lights on, Dakota Stage Rental, all those sorts of things. So thank you to all of our sponsors. Any newbies in the audience? Anybody who's never been to 1 Million Cups? Raise your hand. Okay, 1, 2, 3, perfect. Well, thanks for joining. Hopefully you come back. But what is 1 Million Cups? It's a free weekly program. We bring up an entrepreneur or an organization on the stage, tell us about their initiative, and we give them feedback. We ask them questions. You can invest in them if you want to. Like, just throw money up here, raise your hand. We'll get some bidding paddles maybe. But yeah, a great way to get the word out for new businesses, entrepreneurs, and for them to get feedback from us in the audience too. All right, we will be having a Q&A session after each of our presenters has spoken today. So you can also ask questions at hashtag 1MCND on Twitter. Otherwise, we will be passing around the mug during the Q&A session if you'd like to ask it here in the stage. Okay, perfect. Well, a couple last things to get through here. One being our live job board. I don't believe we had any submitted for today, but if anybody has openings at their company, would like to get the word out of any open positions, come up to the stage now. If I see anybody start walking, I'll keep. Okay, no, okay, good. We're not. Nobody's presenting any live job board today, but just so you know, first Wednesday of every month, we do give you as the audience an opportunity to come up here and tell us about your open positions. We know filling positions right now is a high priority for a lot of businesses, so we thought we'd use our platform to help you with that. Community announcements. I know we have a couple submitted, but you don't have to have a slide. We will run through the ones on here first, but if you do have any sort of community announcement that you'd like to present, please come up to the stage. I believe we're going to start with Lakin. Nope, we're going to start with Evan. I lied.
All right, check. Just a reminder, we've got the Higher Orbits Go for Launch July 6th through the 8th. If you haven't heard about this before, this is an opportunity for 8th through 12th graders to work alongside of an astronaut and come up with an experiment. They work in teams, come up with an experiment that they'd like to see flown to the International Space Station. There are also going to be a group of teams in Fargo. And the deal is that the winning team between all of the Bismarck-Mandan Fargo teams will actually get their experiment flown to the space station. So if you know of another way to get an experiment flown to the space station for less than, I don't know, millions of dollars, let me know. But just an incredible opportunity for young people to do something really, really significant. A lot of support. You know, it's like I said, a team activity. So we're looking for 2 things. One, if you know any students that would be interested in this, please go to the website, Higher Orbits Go for Launch. Talk to me afterwards. We'll get you hooked up. We really want to fill this up. I think we're capping it at 75 students. So if you know science teachers, middle school, high school teachers that might have kind of access to a lot of these students, let me know that as well so we can kind of get the word out. That's really the biggest challenge right now. And then the other thing we're looking for is sponsorship. So if you or your company would like to sponsor this, there are all kinds of levels of sponsorship you can do that allow you to give scholarships, things like that, to actually sponsor some kids to participate. So That's it.
Thank you, Evan. Okay, now Lakin. Sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This is the last time you're going to hear me talk about our Larks event coming up on June 10th. Tickets close Thursday, so this is going to be a networking event for men, women, kids, etc. So we're going to start with a pre-party at Tap-In Tavern, 4:30 to 5:30. Gates open at the ballpark at 5:35, and we'll move everybody over there then for continued networking and family time. So this is where your significant others, your kiddos, and the like can join you for that. Tickets are $25 plus fees. It ends up being about $28. Still cheaper than a Larks ticket. So check us out on Eventbrite. Or you can find it at ndwbc.com. We also have a business builders workshop coming up on personalized marketing. Those are free and virtual. So check that out. And to find out more information about all of our events, you can find that at ndwbc.com.
Thank you, Lakin. Do they still have the Das Boot at Tap-In Tavern? The big boot that you can drink beer out of?
I don't know. I'm not a beer drinker.
Okay. Well, we'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You should come and find out.
Yeah, I'll come and find out. Well, I don't know if I'm allowed, but okay. Okay. Bill.
So yet again, June 16th, 2 weeks from now, we have the Become Google Great class coming to Bismarck at the Ramkota. This is not an official Google trainer, so the cool thing is he will tell you the truth on how to spice up your Google page. So this is free traffic. It's $79 for the day. The second class is all about how to streamline your business, whether it's workflow, collaboration, all of that. And the cool thing is this guy trains like the southern half of the United States for Keller Williams, so up to 6,000 people at a time. And we get him live and in person in 2 weeks. And for those people who support 1 Million Cups, if you purchase it and still come here, you get the recording too. So you don't have to abandon this great place. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Bill. Round of applause. Perfect. Well, let's get into our first presenter today, and it's Cathryn Sprynczynatyk. She is the director of Leadership Bismarck-Mandan. I actually went through this program a few years back, 4 or 5 years ago, so I know how great it is. She's going to start out today talking about the program itself, and then after that, we're going to have a couple of the leadership teams' projects come up and present their projects to us today. So please give Cathryn Sprynczynatyk a warm welcome.
Thanks, Peter. Good morning. So again, my name is Cathryn Sprynczynatyk. I'm the Director of Leadership Bismarck-Mandan for the Bismarck-Mandan Chamber EDC. Before I ever went through this leadership program myself, before I was ever the staff person, I went through myself. So in the class of 2013, this blurry photo here is when I graduated. The program really runs in my blood. My mother was actually one of the program's founders. 32 years ago in 1989. And then, of course, when the job opened, I jumped at the chance to be more involved. So here you see the beautiful very first class of Leadership Bismarck-Mandan, the class of 1990. Please enjoy the beautiful shoulder pads and perms and mustaches in all of their glory. This program started from a group that was brainstorming in the 80s. So, excuse me, they were basically a coffee clutch that was meeting at the chamber at that time, brainstorming how do we train that next generation of elected officials? How do we find new leaders for our community? And while we are not explicitly a candidate training program, we've had many alumni over 32 years go on to public office. So you see Bismarck Commissioner Nancy Guy, Mandan Commissioner Amber Larson, Public Service Commissioner Julie Fedorchuk, Judge Sloan Anderson, and many others. Our mission is to engage emerging leaders in business and community issues. So this is not exclusive to members of the Chamber EDC, and it never has been. Ever since the beginning, it's been open to the wider community because we do believe that a rising tide floats all boats. We want to train all emerging leaders in our community, whether or not you're members. I like to describe it as a master's class in the Bismarck-Mandan community. So we meet September through May. The program runs for 9 months. The first 6 months are our issue days. We're meeting every other week for a half day. The issue days really dive deep into the issues of our community. So for example, have you ever been inside a wind turbine? Energy Day is a full-day tour of coal country. So a wind energy field, a coal plant, gasification plant. Agriculture Day is a half-day tour of agriculture sites in Morton and Burleigh counties, including the Darling Calf Barn at Northern Lights Dairy. Arts and Leisure Day happens to be one of my favorites. So we always have some kind of either art project or dance class, and basically we love to push business people out of their comfort zone. So some love the art project, some hate the art project, but either way, we really enjoy it. Serve and Protect Day brings together the North Dakota National Guard, police, fire, ambulance, emergency services. It's typically held at the Burleigh-Morton County Detention Center, so we get a tour of the county jail, and surprise, surprise, they don't allow you to take photos inside the county jail for security purposes. So instead, here is an adorable photo of Profi, who's on the K9 unit for Burleigh County Sheriff's Department. We have Human Services Day, we have Health Day. Health Day brings together a panel of the CEOs of our healthcare systems in Bismarck-Mandan. So from Sanford to CHI St. Alexius to Mid-Dakota Clinic. And let me tell you, this was fascinating this past year because during the height of the COVID pandemic, we had a panel of those three healthcare CEOs, and we could ask them any questions that we wanted. Legislative and Political Involvement Day. When it's a legislative year, we have a full day at the state capitol. Education Day also brings together a panel of the university presidents, so University of Mary, United Tribes, Bismarck State College, and Education Day really goes from covering preschool all the way through higher education in our community. Media Day is typically in downtown Bismarck. We do a little media speed dating tour where we tour 3 media sites in rapid fire succession because did you know, within a 2-block radius in downtown Bismarck, you can tour 3 different sites. Economic Development Day was most recently at Cloverdale Foods. And you don't often get an opportunity to tour Cloverdale, but if you do, I can assure you that the entire place smells like bacon, and it is delicious. And then Faith, Values, and Ethics Day. We bring together a panel of our faith community, everyone from Bismarck Muslim Community Center to Hindu practitioners, Latter-day Saints, Dakota Adventist. Then, the second portion of the program, March through May, is the field project portion. So the idea is we want all of that knowledge that you've just learned about our community, we want you to take that knowledge and make an impact in something that you're passionate about. So over 32 years, we have had fantastic field projects. For example, the Universal Playground in Mandan is a project of the class of 2014. At this playground, whether you are in a wheelchair or you have autism or you have sensory issues, there's something for everyone at that playground. The Art Alley in downtown Bismarck was a project of the class of 2016, and your very own Peter Pomonis was on this project. And this is a dirty functioning alley. There are dumpsters and deliveries, and yet how many wedding photos, engagement photos, senior photos do you see getting taken in front of those North Dakota murals? Along the same lines, the North Dakota Music Lane in Mandan is another public art project. And what's really fun is in the years that I've run this program, when we brainstorm field projects, there is such a hunger for public art that bubbles up almost every year. And it's fantastic, I love it. Another example, the Central Dakota Children's Choir. So did you know, this is a project of Leadership Bismarck-Mandan program from the class of 1998. Another one, this is an example from the Bismarck Public Schools Foundation. From the very first class of 1990, this was a project of Renee Hoffman Walker. So in 1990, if you wanted to donate money to Bismarck Public Schools, they had no way to receive it, no fiscal agent before the foundation was created. Partners in Planting, this is a hidden gem. So if you are a homeowner in Bismarck and you want to plant trees on your boulevard, the city will actually pay for half the cost of your tree. They have a list of the best tree species for the health of our city forest, and that's another leadership project out of 1997. Farmland to Fine Dining was from 2019, so this was a banquet in a field event in Morton County that brought together agriculture producers to provide education over a delicious North Dakota meal. And then finally, the Heritage Art Tunnel, also 2019. They presented here at 1 Million Cups a few months ago. So this dirty, scary alley is right by the Heritage Center. And soon, they're in fundraising now, soon it's going to be filled with beautiful public art. So once you go through this program, I guarantee that you are going to be hungry for this knowledge to continue, and that is the role of our Alumni Association. So the Alumni Association provides a leadership lunch series, everything from, you saw Miss America, Cara Mund. This was a cheese board chat with the Midwest Dairy Association, which, by the way, this was the absolute best virtual event I attended in this past year, mainly because you received all of that food in advance of the event. The Alumni Association also volunteers around the community. So, for example, Heaven's Helpers Soup Cafe, the Banquet, Papa's Pumpkin Patch, they're very involved. We also like to book a lot of tours of facilities that are currently under construction in the community, and we usually have a chance to view them before they open. So this is the new penguin house at Dakota Zoo. The penguins will arrive by the end of the summer. And we got a chance to see those back-of-house things, the areas where they quarantine the penguins, where they have nesting, things like that, the things that your average zoo visitor doesn't get a chance to see. So if you are interested in applying, our applications are open now. We typically accept 15 to 18 in our cohort. We have found that's kind of the sweet spot for our cohort, for our class. This past year during COVID, we could only accept 10 for social distancing, but I am happy to report we plan on a full class of 15 to 18 this year. The deadline is August 1st. We've got the application on our website. I'll put up the web address at the end. We also require a letter of reference from your direct supervisor. And so the idea is we want to know that there is buy-in from your company to attend this program, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with us every other week for a half day. Tuition is $625, and if that sounds like a lot, employers typically pay this tuition for their employees to go through their program, so I encourage you to speak with your employer about that. We do also have limited scholarships available. So we have a few scholarships available for both nonprofits and small businesses, and obviously entrepreneurs. If you've got your own company, you very likely qualify for a potential small business scholarship. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about this program. I've got 3 babies of my own at home, and I really consider this program to be my 4th baby. It is truly the best leadership program out there. I was born and raised in Bismarck, and when I went through, I learned so much. There was so much I didn't know. So if you want more information and to apply, bismarckmandan.com/leadership Bismarck-Mandan. I'll be available for questions after all 3 presentations. Now we're going to welcome up the class of 2021, and I believe the rideshare group is going to present on their field project.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for your interest in our project and attending. We are the Leadership Bismarck-Mandan half of the class. There are 5 of us in the class, or in our group, and we chose rideshare for our project. It actually came up in just a brainstorming session about maybe the need in Bismarck-Mandan, and we went with it. So our members on our team for rideshare, I'm the project manager. I'm Amy Mazigian. I work at Gate City Bank. Jillian Legacy, Capital Credit Union. She is our marketing promotions guru on our team. And Carrie Schmidt, she works for the City of Mandan, and she is our point of contact for the City of Mandan. And then Katie Schulz with the North Dakota Women's Business Center, and she was our point of contact for the City of Bismarck. And then Sean Cleary isn't with us today, but he works at NISC, and he was our partner with Uber and Lyft. Here we go. Oh, you got one.
I do. Okay. Testing. The summary of the project you can see on the screen here is to establish designated drop-off and pickup rideshare locations in downtown Bismarck-Mandan. You have probably seen this or experienced this at airports in larger cities when you're trying to get a rideshare. So we'll go into the details, but we started with downtown Bismarck with hopes to expand into downtown Mandan and other areas of Bismarck-Mandan. But again, overarching goal is to establish specific drop-off and pickup locations in downtown Bismarck. So what's the problem or what's the need? Why would we want to do this project? The 4 points we ran with for this project you can see on the screen. First, it can be difficult to coordinate rideshare pickups and drop-offs at busy intersections or tight intersections that you feel when you're shopping downtown. So you're maybe at a corner, but you're one store in, or you're at a store in the middle of a block. It can be difficult to coordinate. It can lead to confusion and delays with drivers. You're here, but you're a little bit off. They missed the corner. They have to go all the way around, and you're waving them down, but there's cars parked there. So those confusions and delays as well. Safety issues, especially you'll feel this on Main here in Bismarck. If they're stopping on Main and double parking, or you're opening your door into traffic, of course we've all done that, and you're like kind of cringe every time you do it. Certainly there can be some safety issues there. And then of course drinking and driving, that's the overall goal of rideshare in general. In addition to all these other things I mentioned, is it hopefully encourages people to make the right decision when they're out having a drink and enjoying downtown Bismarck-Mandan. One of our initial paths to this project included a survey of business owners or members of downtown associations in Bismarck, but also the downtown business owners of Mandan. And we did distribute a survey in April to all business owners, and the questions included, do you feel there's a need for rideshare? What is the reason you feel there's a need for designated rideshare spots in downtown? And the overarching themes you can see up here are that most did feel there was a need, and most felt like the 2 big reasons were confusion for downtown patrons and reducing drinking and driving. We also asked them about locations and designated spots, and we certainly don't want to take existing parking spots downtown. We didn't want to touch that because that's a sensitive issue, and that's something we don't want to reduce, is the number of parking spots. So we did ask them about that as well.
All right, so part of this program, obviously we had to rely on some partnerships. We worked with the downtowners to help with the survey. We also worked with the City of Mandan and the City of Bismarck to talk about the different aspects of this program. So we worked really close with Gabe Schell and the City of Bismarck to figure out what the sign should look like, maybe locations of where the signage should be, and we'll talk about locations here in a minute. And then recently we came into a partnership with Jerome Distributing to help us with marketing and with the cost of the signage. So it's a great partnership within both cities of moving forward. Hopefully, we will move forward with Mandan after the construction. So there's conversations that we still need to have in the Mandan area. But with Bismarck, we're moving, hopefully within a month or so, we hope to have these rideshare locations up, and then start with our marketing campaign. And then we have garnered the support. So we met with the Bismarck City Commission on May 11th, and they approved the project so far. So it's nice to hear that we have approval from the downtown area with the surveys and with the public, as well as the City Commission in Bismarck. And then on the next slide, we also have the partnership with Uber and Lyft. So what's cool with them is they are more than willing to put all of the locations on their app. And in a couple of months, we can actually get analytical information from those apps to see which locations are being utilized, how it's being utilized, if there's certain times, and that sort of thing that may be beneficial. It'll also give us some information if we need to expand this program into maybe the colleges or maybe the airport down the line. So the downtown area is more of just a pilot program just to see how it's all going to work first for us. And here you can see that we have a mock-up sign. The one that was most recently approved looks very similar. It just has the word designated taken off. And those will be in the loading zones in the downtown Bismarck area. You can see that we picked 7 locations, and actually most of them are not on Main Street. There's only one on the Patterson Place loading zone that's on Main Street. The rest of them are off of Main Street because our goal was to make this a safe locations for people not running across Main Street to try and find their Uber or their Lyft. We did also include the Belle Mayhews in some of these in this location, as well as the event center. So we're looking at not just the downtown area, but all the businesses in the downtown area.
And then you'll see up on the screen behind me the locations that we have identified in Mandan as well. There are no locations on Main Street, again, for safety reasons. They're just off of Main Street, though, in the avenues, however. They have not been approved by the city yet. However, city staff have reviewed the locations and given us the nod to go ahead and get in front of the parking authority for approval. And then after the parking authority, we'll move into city commission for final approval. And then if approved, we would hope to launch this program in Mandan in October at some point once the Main Street construction has wrapped up. I don't know if any of you are aware, but there's a construction project on Main Street in Mandan. And it is a pilot program. We're going to structure it as a pilot program. We originally had discussed 6 months, and then when we presented this in front of the leadership committee and attendees, it was asked if it would be better to be a year-long pilot program. And so that's something that we'll all need to discuss, but it does sound like maybe going a year long would probably give us a bit more better information to gauge the success of this program. It does include integration with the app in the pilot program, as well as signage that can go up as well. And then just looking to the future, we need to get the program launched and get it going. We need to integrate with Uber and Lyft in the app, and then we also need to give it time to see how it goes and gauge the success and determine if this is something that's going to be a permanent feature in the downtown of Bismarck and Mandan. But then also, are there other places in the cities that could use those locations as well?
That was our very, very, very quick presentation. When we gave this in front of everybody a couple weeks ago, we were cut off at 45 minutes. That was our time. So we're sorry we went so fast, but after the second group here, we will come back up and we'll field any questions that you might have about our project. Thank you.
Good morning. Is everyone excited to be here? Wow, you think I MC a lot, right? Okay, let's talk about downtown Bismarck interactive art and architecture. So many people walk downtown and you may think, hey, I wonder what that building is. What's the historic reference? Or the art alley. What did that artist think when they were creating that? So our goal, or the goal of my project team, which included Annika Lockard of the Office of the Attorney General, Rich Garman of Great River Energy, and Tina Stanger of University of Mary, who unfortunately could not be here today. You have myself, Melissa Barth of Aetna, a CVS health company, and Weston Dressler of Sanford. Yes. So the goal of our project is to bring a voice to the art and architecture of downtown Bismarck-Mandan. So that includes, of course, Art Alley 5.5, as well as 10 historic locations in the downtown area. So how are we going to bring this to life? You're walking downtown, are you just going to go to Google and Google's going to talk to you? No. We're going to partner with Talking Trail, which is an app that is local, actually Bismarck home office. So really it's bringing the entire community together. What they'll do is they will actually have a voice service, or the artists individually will come and actually provide their voice. And then for the historic locations, there will be either voice services and approved scripts. So who else do we partner with? Well, you can't bring art to life without Dakota West Arts Council, am I right? So, yep, there you go. We intend to give a voice to the art on Art Alley, as well as other locations in the future. And then, of course, for the historic locations, we partnered with the Historic Preservation Commission, which is a group of 7 members, and they are an advisory board, as well as working with their subcommittee to determine if the 10 locations that we presented within the 5 to 7 mile walking distance, or 5 to 7 block rather, not mile. I mean, if you want to walk 5 to 7 miles, go with it, but we're just kind of keeping it block-wise. And I'm going to hand it over to Weston.
All right, thank you, Melissa. So, obviously, we talked about the Art Alley already a little bit, but these are our locations that we've worked closely with Dakota West Arts Council as well as the Historic Preservation Commission to identify what would be the best starting points for our project. So thank you, Peter, for putting together the Art Alley and building that program a few years ago. And thank you, Cathryn, for already showing everyone the pictures of it. So that helps us condense our presentation. But there's actually 20 different pieces of art throughout Art Alley, so we would have 20 separate talking points within the Talking Trail app, and our goal is to get as many of those artists that did the artwork to narrate their piece of art. So within the app, that artist would be able to have a 1 minute 30-second voiceover of their work, telling more about why they painted it or what it means to them, and really being able to bring that piece of art to life and giving anyone walking through there a little better idea of what was going on in their minds. And then within our list is our 10 sites that we identified in partnership with the Historic Preservation Commission. Those sites include, and I won't dive into the details about them, I think most of us in here probably understand the historic significance for some of these, if not all of them. But they include the Rail Depot, the Belle Mayhews, the former Governor's Mansion, the Patterson Hotel, Capitol Theater Building, the Weather Beacon, St. Alexis, World War Memorial Building, the City Library, and the Cathedral. So like Melissa said, all of our locations are in a 5 to 7 block radius within the downtown area. And for any visitors or even local people, local residents of Bismarck, being able to grab your phone, use the app, see the sign out by these areas, and get a quick blurb of the significance of these locations will be pretty cool. At least we thought so. So thank you, Kate and the Downtowners, for helping us out with the survey. We had about 4 or 5 questions, I think it was, to local business owners in the downtown area to gauge the interest of if people would be interested in using something like this and interested in kind of promoting it to their customers and their coworkers. Our first question within the survey was basically, do you have interest in this? And we got about 55 to 60% of our local business owners saying yes, this is something they would use, something they would talk about and share with their family and friends. And that was kind of the gist of our survey, reassuring that we were going down the right path and people within our community would be interested in this. What's next? Funding. So our 20 points, working with Talking Trail, our 20 points within the Art Alley would be an estimated cost of around $10,000. To expand to 30 points, which would include our 10 historical sites, we're looking at a cost of about $16,500 to get this implemented with Talking Trail. There is also an annual maintenance fee of $1,200 a year. So the ways that we are looking at funding this project is in partnership with Capital City Christmas. We have submitted and applied for a grant through their program. And as some of you may know, they have a heavy emphasis on arts in the community and giving back through their Capital City Christmas celebration. So we are hopeful that we'll be able to get some funds through that area. We also will work with local companies within our community, many of which have already donated to many art projects around downtown or around all of Bismarck, including the Art Alley. So we have many great resources in our community and very generous local businesses that are willing to give back. So like I mentioned, with the 10 talking points of the historical architectural sites, that brings an added cost to expand it to 30 locations. We are working closely with the Historic Preservation Commission. They've actually already been awarded a grant for interpretive signage, and this was an idea that we brought forward to them, an idea that they already kind of had in the back of their minds, so it was kind of right timing for both parties. And we're hopeful that that interpretive signage grant, we're continuing to have conversations with them, but hopeful that that grant money will be coming towards the Talking Trail app and our project. Lastly, basically what's next with our project, it's to secure the funding that we need and get everything implemented and get working with Talking Trail to get all that up and running. But the beauty of our project here too is that we always have the ability to expand and add new locations. And hopefully one day we can have the theater here within our Talking app included. But some of our ideas and thoughts of local groups that we would work with, you see on the board, the downtowners, already working with them a little bit as far as the survey work they did for us. Parks and Rec, Northern Plains National Heritage Area, those are some areas that are going to start reaching out to once our first phase 1 and phase 2 of our 30 talking points are complete, to look at expanding and adding more throughout all of the city of Bismarck and expand into Mandan as well. That is it.
All right, so we're going to move on to the Q&A portion of our show today. We're going to have a couple people stay up for each group to answer some questions. Bring Cathryn up as well. Remember to use hashtag 1MCND on Twitter if you have some questions. Otherwise, Evan looks like he's our mic runner today. He's got the magic mug, and we'll give you that. So just throw up your hand, and we'll give you the opportunity to ask some questions. I'm going to grab one more chair. Lakin took down my chairs. It's okay, Lakin, I forgive you. All right, well, we heard a lot about each of your groups. Maybe to kick things off, talk a little bit more about the program as a whole, what some of the major takeaways were for you guys, and how the experience went.
Sure, I will start. I am so glad that I applied and I was accepted. It was a great experience. I've lived in Bismarck-Mandan for about 20 years. I did not know half of what I learned existed even. It was great to network, build my network, and just find out all about our wonderful community that we live in. Just a fantastic experience, and I looked forward to going every other Friday. And the project scared me, but it was so much fun. It's been a lot of work, and grateful that my employer supported me, but it was fantastic.
I guess I would have to second what Amy had said, that it's been a great learning experience to see what's all in the Bismarck-Mandan area. I had no idea that a lot of these programs were already in place, and really how we can support it as a community. So it was great to just see the partnerships that the community has made within this area to make things work well for any person coming in and feel welcome. So it was a great project to be a part of.
I would agree. I've been at home for 7 years, working out of my home, so human interaction is quite delightful. So I was really excited to build the interpersonal relationships with the group, as well as learning about the community. I was born here, but we left. So coming back and not having any idea about agriculture, it's there, which is great. I drive by a field and there's cows, but to learn the behind it, like the ins and outs of that, and even the wind turbines and Energy Day was phenomenal. And I'm so grateful to be accepted and part of this program.
Great. Looks like we have a question in the front. Janya.
Hopefully this will dovetail. Cathryn, so I know you're open for nominations right now. Who would, if you were to describe, who are those ideal candidates?
Ooh, ideal candidates. Truly every emerging leader in the community. So if you want to get involved in our community, if you want to make an impact in Bismarck-Mandan and you want to learn more, you are our ideal candidate.
Perfect. Another question.
All right. Okay, I got a question for each of your groups. Melissa with the Talking Trails. Is there, in the Talking Trails app, is there going to be the ability for people to maybe sponsor a month or donate to it? Is that something you guys have thought of? That's question number one. And then for the other group, Amy, with the signage, this is kind of a pun. It's not meant to be a pun, but was there any roadblocks that you guys had, any challenges that you thought was pretty interesting that you'd like to share? And then maybe one last one for Cathryn. Is there any, if I know we have some alumni in here, would we like to have all the alumni, the program stand?
Yes, any other alumni? So Peter, I see Julie Jeske, who've gone through the program.
Yeah,
Raise
feel
your
free to
hand.
stand.
Go ahead, Melissa.
Fantastic. You know, we hadn't actually talked about individual sponsorship for specific months on the app since it's kind of conducive. There is some signage, so we are kind of talking about that piece, maybe individual contributors or funding in that way, but not individual month subscriptions or sponsorship at this time.
Roadblocks.
Roadblocks. So when we first thought of our project and we had talked to Kate about it, and we received an email back from her, and she's kind of like, well, you know, it's kind of been thought of, and you didn't say we couldn't do it. But then we were like, okay, oh shoot, now what are we gonna do? And then I think the biggest roadblock, the biggest hurdle was taking existing parking spots, and we didn't want to do that. There's not much parking downtown anyway, and it's 90-minute parking and confusion, and so we didn't want to take an existing parking spot or many parking spots. So then it was suggested to use the existing loading zones, and we had no idea that there are so many loading zones. And anybody can use them. You know, people use them for Meals on Wheels. They use them for loading and unloading, which is what you're doing when you are getting in and out of an Uber or a Lyft. So we went with that idea then and said, well, we drove around downtown and let's just use these existing loading zones. And so then Gabe from the city of Bismarck, the city engineer, had said, we can put up signage. The only thing when you saw our sign when we put it up there, it said designated. We just had to take the word designated off because it isn't designated just for rideshare. Anybody can use that. It's just more of a sign that just marks your spot. So when you're on your app and Uber is saying, go to rideshare pickup spot number 2, you can stand under the sign that has a 2 and you know where you are. So it does kind of designate the spot, but it isn't only for Lyft and Uber for rideshare.
Maybe to piggyback off of that a little bit, what was it like working with Uber and Lyft? Did they have any sort of framework for you guys to work from? And just curious to how those conversations went.
Yeah, so Sean did a lot of the back and forth with Uber and Lyft, but he said that the experience was very easy. We just need to let them know exactly when we want the locations established and what we want to number them, and they have no issue with that. Both were very easy to work with throughout this process. So that was nice, and to be able to get that analytical information from them in a couple of months to see what locations are utilized the most, how they're utilized and such, will be a great benefit I think for our community, so we know if we need to expand this program to other areas within the Bismarck-Mandan location.
Just one more thing to add. When Sean contacted Uber and Lyft, they were kind of like, who are you? Like, what do you mean you're like this leadership group? We usually deal with cities and like the city commission. And so then we had to explain who we were, and then that's why we went to the city commission meeting. We actually didn't need the city commission's approval. Gabe, the city engineer, was able to approve it for us, but we went to the city commission meeting as more of an FYI, you know, can we get your support? And they were very supportive of our project, and now we can show Uber and Lyft that, you know, it has been approved, and eventually our team isn't going to continue with the upkeep of this. It will be handed back off to the cities to like take care of it, I guess, and add more locations in the future if it's necessary.
Perfect. Evan.
Yeah, I've got a question, and this is for whoever wants to chime in, I guess. A little bit about the process of when you get to the project part of the program, that process of forming teams, picking projects, that kind of thing, because it's kind of a sky's the limit thing. So how does that work?
I can take that one. So we have a guided brainstorming process where the whole class, everyone's throwing out their ideas, and we start narrowing it down and voting on. We want those top 2 to 3 ideas to bubble up to the surface, the things that the class is most passionate about. And over 32 years, the field projects have taken many different forms. Originally, they were individual, so like Children's Choir and Bismarck Public Schools Foundation, those were individuals working on their own, which is a huge lift. For a while, we solicited proposals from the community, but then you essentially got assigned your field project and you weren't working on something you were passionate about. So we really want it to be something the team is passionate about. And sometimes they change. Didn't your guys' change within about 24 hours?
It did. It did. Originally, we were lighting the path down by the river, which was a great idea until you realized the cost associated with it, and then presenting in front of boards and commissions, and it was not conducive as far as through the project process. You have to have a sponsor when we start the project, and we had some issues getting a signature. In the end, we did get a signature, but we had committed to Talking Trail because we were all extremely passionate about that as well. You will find through the selection process that you do not have one passion. There are multiple passions, and we kind of pared that down.
I remember being told not to try to boil the ocean, I think is how it was put to me. So do something that's doable within the time frame, even though the art alley lasted about 2 years after the program finished. So didn't do so well with not boiling the ocean there. Dawn.
I have 2 questions for Melissa. The first one is in regards to signage on the historic locations. Where will the signage be located? Have you identified that? Will it be adjacent to the buildings or somewhere on the building? Kind of like
Yeah, we have not identified places for those signage or for the signage as of current. We're still in talks with the Historic Preservation Commission as well as Talking Trail. Right after we had presented on the 19th, correct me if I'm wrong, we actually went to the Historic Preservation Commission meeting that afternoon and got the sign off. So as of now, we're still kind of in talks as to where the signage will go. Similar to Art Alley, there are some other locations where it's kind of integrated in. I believe the historic musical area in Mandan kind of has that integrated into the sign. So we're still definitely in talks about that signage.
And then my second isn't really a question, but kind of piggybacking on the app and sponsorship idea. Mine is more so toward the maintenance effort or the annual maintenance. If there would be a way to allow people to pitch in or chip in a couple bucks if they're, as they're using the app, maybe that is something to consider so that the annual maintenance fee isn't always something that needs to be sponsored by a business, and maybe this would be able to help this portion of the Talking Trail continue on in an easier way, maybe?
Definitely. And that's something, once the project is concluded, and our target date is Labor Day. So once that is concluded, then Dakota West Arts Council and the Historic Preservation Commission are setting up a partnership to discuss that annual maintenance fee. So I will definitely put that in. That is a great idea. Thank you.
And this is for both groups, but I know step one is to actually get these projects off the ground and officially started, but what does that promotion look like? Have you gotten to that point in your planning yet, and how you intend to get the word out about either of these projects?
So we feel like some of it we've had in the past couple of weeks some media coverage to kind of help get the word out about both projects, actually, and also we went in our I'm sorry, guys. In our talks with Jerome's Distributing, they have offered some of their marketing services as well to get the word out, to help make flyers, and to help promote these rideshare locations as a safe way for people to be able to come to the downtown area and visit these businesses in a safe way. So it's been a great partnership so far, and we hope to have more discussions. With marketing also, we're looking at some social media marketing and that sort of thing too. So Jillian is in marketing, so she's going to be heading up that project here soon, but with the help of Jerome's Distributing.
We haven't talked much about it. Really, it's getting it in place and then potentially soliciting, or not soliciting, but partnering with local businesses to get flyers in their restaurants. You know, when you're downtown after you leave a larger meal, sometimes taking a walk is delightful. So having that available to provide to their patrons to get that word out as well.
Very cool. Well, Evan, I know we're getting close to our 10 o'clock deadline here. Would you like to ask the last question?
I would, and I think this is for each of the two groups and also for Cathryn. We always like to ask the same last question, and that is, what can we, the Bismarck-Mandan 1 Million Cups community, do to support you?
Okay, so I guess
I mean, I can go. Can you support me?
I guess what we would ask for support is just be able to spread the word that this is coming, and offer your feedback. Let us know how it's working out, if there's changes that need to be made, we just really want to be able to benefit the community. So just having that feedback would be really great, and spreading the word. So.
For us in the leadership program itself, what we would ask, or what we need from you is apply, or encourage someone else that you think would really benefit from this program, someone who you know wants to be an emerging leader if you're mentoring someone. But if you're curious, contact me and give some consideration to applying.
Definitely word of mouth. So as the project comes to fruition, if you will, just getting the word out to anyone you know that it is there, it's available, and it will just give that interactive voice.
Perfect. Well, thank you again for being here today. Let's give them another round of applause. Thank you all for coming today. One last thing I'll just say about the program, since I did go through it as well, is I found that Bismarck-Mandan has a lot going on. I grew up here, had no idea all the stuff, the programs that were available. And then the project, you actually can make an actual impact in the community. So I thought that was a really cool thing. Felt like I actually made a difference in doing something. So if you're at all interested in the program, I encourage you to apply. Spread the word for other people to join the program as well. Again, we have another great 1MC coming up next week with Whitney. Don't believe it's February 27th. That probably is wrong. But Whitney Nielsen with Unconventional Cookies, I believe, is next up. And then We Clean after that. So hope to see you back here, and have a good rest of your Wednesday.